This is the moment of truth in Burgundy. A year has passed since the last harvest, like thousands more before them. But no two growing seasons are ever the same. The pickers need to act. Temperatures are dropping, and the water will swell the grapes, diluting their delicate flavors. Or worse, rot will shrivel the berries. This is the drama of winemaking in one of the world's greatest regions. Burgundy. This is one stop along an ancient thoroughfare that ran from Paris down to Lyon and on to Italy. Through the centuries, these streets served a wine industry that catered to the wealthy and influential of Europe. Travelers shared their stories of the great wines of Burgundy and furthered its reputation, which lives on today. Beaune, a medieval city that was once the capital of Burgundy. The city's history is preserved at the Hôtel Dieu. This is a gem of Gothic architecture and symbolic heart of Burgundy's wine business. Wine has been made in this region for millennia, but it was the church and monks of the Middle Ages who classified the growing areas and established Burgundian varietals, Chardonnay for whites, Pinot Noir for reds, that are still in use today. This program focuses on the red wines of Burgundy, made from a grape that is notoriously difficult to grow but revered by winemakers. Pinot Noir. It's known as the heartbreak grape. Now, I love Pinot, but it's finicky, thin-skinned, early ripening, and it only grows in the cooler wine-growing regions. For the wine grower, it's a high-stakes game. But when everything comes together, it produces some of the most sought-after wines in the world. Pinot Noir is grown across the globe. However, this is its home. The early monks observed and codified the specific geological and climatic conditions of Burgundy and cultivated plots of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay in small walled vineyards. That's why today, Burgundy is still a patchwork of individual plots that have been passed down generation to generation with little change over the centuries. The sense of history and place is captured in the Burgundian concept of climat.
All these vineyards have been split between hundreds and hundreds of different wine growers. You can see the small size of the vineyard. And it's like cooking, you may have the same ingredient, the same recipe, but the result is different.
C'est la terre, c'est le sol, c'est l'exposition, c'est la vigne. Ce sont tous les facteurs qui vont donner le caractère au vin.
The term of climat has always been used to designate a place where you make wine, a place with a certain limits, and producing a wine with a certain taste.
It explains something about the underground, the exposure, the altitude, but each thing adds something to the expression.
If it grows on a rocky soil, the wine has a certain taste. If it's on a clayey soil with a lot of clay, the taste is different. To sun exposure, so which is why wine will taste different if it's grown in different places.
What I find remarkable about Pinot Noir is how more than any other grape, its expression will change depending on where it is grown. It's part of the reason why this small region can produce more than 60,000 different labels each year from only 2 grape varieties. This is beautiful.
Yes, well, we are above the village of Pernan-Bergelès on the plateau called Frétille, and the vineyard you look just underneath here is called Sous Frétille.
This is wine scholar Jean-Pierre Renard, a Burgundy expert. Overlooking the slopes of the Côte de Beaune, you can see the individual vineyard plots.
When you look here and you see this valley with a slope on the right, a slope on the left, with a different exposure and also with different type of soil and subsoil, you understand that the wine can be a little bit different. If you grow Pinot Noir on a very hot, compact limestone soil, it will be very fine and delicate, but with a lack of structure. You need clay, you need limestone, you need pebbles. In Burgundy, those parameters change from 1 meter to the next meter.
If we look at the soil here, you see those white stone. This is limestone. The roots of the vineyard is in the limestone. When limestone degrades, it becomes clay, and vineyard loves two things, stone, so dry soil, and clay.
Let me explain how vineyard location can impact quality. Burgundy's classification system is based on soil structure, sun exposure, and climatic conditions. The vines stretch from the flat areas up the slopes on this limestone escarpment. In the flat vineyards, they grow primarily the regional and village wines. On the steep hillsides are the Premier Cru wines. Here the soils are thinner, and the wines take on specific character of the vineyards. The best locations are designated Grand Cru, the finest expression of Burgundy's Pinot Noir. A lot of people may be intimidated by the choice and abundant variety of wine styles that Burgundy offers. The appellation system is a hierarchy of variations in texture, aromas, and flavors.
Understanding the appellation system for the quality wines of France does not need to be complicated. For the wines of Burgundy, I like to think of a pyramid.
At the base level of the pyramid, we have the regional wines, les vins Bourgogne. They can be red or they can be white, and that accounts for about 50% of the total production. Move up a level, we have les villages, wines from specific villages. A level higher, it's called Premier Cru. And at the very top of our pyramid, we have Grand Cru, which accounts for only 2% of the total wines produced in the region. This historic domain in the Côte de Nuit produces arguably the world's greatest wine. The climat of this vineyard is perfectly suited for the finicky Pinot Noir. It's the standard against which all others are judged.
One of the finest places in the world to grow Pinot Noir can be found up here. From a small parcel of land, only a few hundred bottles of wine can be produced each year. This is Romani-Conti.
It was first planted by the Abbey of Saint-Vivant in the Middle Ages and came into the possession of the Prince of Conti in 1760. He understood its value and kept all the wine for his own consumption.
This is Latache 91. That is one of my preferred children.
Santé.
Haute santé. Haute santé.
Merci beaucoup.
It's a wine that has 22 years.
22 years.
22 years. It's not old. Huh? Not old.
No, it still has lots of
It's,
years. Monsieur Aubert de Villaine is co-director of the Domaine de la Romani-Conti. For over 40 years, he has guided this estate and worked to enhance its reputation.
It's a grape that was born here. Pinot Noir was born in the east of France. We don't know exactly where, but in this area. The first vigneron, who used a number of other varieties, found out that Pinot Noir, was the varietal to make fine wines here. So there is a marriage in Burgundy between Pinot Noir and the climat. I think that even if there are very good wines made with Pinot Noir, no other region can reach the elegance and finesse of what is made here with a grape that is our grape, married.
I've just tasted a wine I love. Unfortunately, demand for Burgundy's top wines have exploded and prices have been driven into the stratosphere, far beyond my budget. You know, for me, price is never a reliable gauge of quality, and this region makes wines at every level.
As starlit evening slowly ends and colder skies now drift above.
Burgundy is one of the coolest growing regions in the country, located in east central France. It's part of the reason that Pinot Noir and Chardonnay thrive here. The finest vineyards are laid out along the clay limestone escarpment called the Côte d'Or. The entire region stretches 200 kilometers from Chablis south to Beaujolais. But we're concentrating on the Pinot Noir vineyards of the Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, and Côte Chalonnaise. The French term négociant refers to wine merchants who buy fruit from many small growers and produces wine under their own label. Maison Joseph Drouin is an important négociant in Burgundy, with vineyards in every region.
Michael, come with me. I will show you a little piece of history in my cellar. So it's Gothic.
Frédéric Drouin represents the fourth generation of the family business founded in 1880. Their vast cellars in Beaune architecturally reflect the history of France, with some sections dating back to the Romans. Their library of fine wines comes from all over Burgundy. But I want to know if it's possible to find quality and value here.
And yes, they are expensive, but Burgundy also offers good entry door. Simply a Bourgogne Rouge, Pinot Noir, a Bourgogne Blanc, or other wines like a Côte de Beaune Village, affordable wines which will tell to the customer it's pure Pinot Noir, and then it will be a question of personal taste. You prefer dry wine or rounder wines.
We have so many people who think that the only very, very good Burgundy are the most expensive ones. They seem to forget that in Burgundy we also have some village appellation. At a very reasonable price, we can produce excellent wine.
The biggest decision of the year for growers is when to harvest. Historically, variations in Burgundy's weather year to year resulted in vast quality differences between vintages. Just like the rest of the world, viticultural practices and winemaking techniques have improved dramatically over the past decades. And the wines here are now far more consistent.
Ah, c'est joli les jardins.
Ce sont les jardins qui ont été installés à partir de 1810.
This is Christophe Bouchard, managing director of one of Burgundy's oldest firms, Bouchard Père et Fils, a négociant and wine producer founded in 1731 in the historic Château de Beaune. Within the ramparts of this 15th century fortress are the wine cellars. Located 7 meters underground, they're ideal for storing and cellaring wines. I want to understand the aging potential of Pinot Noir and how the wines evolve over time.
Et si on met ça dans le cave et on le donne à 10, 12 ou 20 années, comment ça va changer?
Alors c'est un vin qui va évoluer, qui va s'affiner encore. C'est un vin qui, je pense, a son optimum dans 3 ou 4 ans, et puis ensuite va continuer à monter et va se stabiliser pendant plusieurs années. Ensuite, tout dépend des conditions de stockage et de conservation. Si le vin ne bouge pas de la cave, ne change pas d'emplacement, il va continuer à s'améliorer et à rester stable.
After 15 years, a great Burgundy, a great Côte de Nuit especially, you are not wrong usually when you open the bottle. The wine can wait can age for much more. Now here it's 20 years. I think you can really drink the wine.
It's not wrong after.
But it will last for 20 more years.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, right?
Here we are. This is our office.
This is Maison Louis Latour, another of Burgundy's long-established vineyard owners and négociants, dating back to the French Revolution.
And how long have you been using this building for office?
1 century and a half. It's like yesterday for
You
us.
just moved in.
Just moved in.
Louis Fabrice Latour is the 11th generation to head the company. This historic building was the first purpose-built winery in France, constructed in 1832. It has 5 levels to move the juice by gravity. The cellars are carved into the hillsides of Alex-Corton, providing perfect aging conditions. His cellars are creepy, damp, and cool. Mold clings to every surface. I like exploring these places on my own, uncovering the history and decades of great vintages that lie beneath the vineyard. Producing wine, especially from the delicate Pinot Noir grape in this cool region of France, requires passion. It's not easy, and it tests the resolve of even the most dedicated vigneron.
Pinot Noir has always been the most wonderful varietal to grow, but also one of the most challenging. There is a bit of everything in Pinot Noir. It's not too much color, it's not too much tannin, it's not too much acidity, it's not too much power. It's a good combination of finesse, Pinot Noir, nice extraction. But to make great Pinot Noir does require a lot of effort and a lot of time. It's not easy.
What are some of the unique challenges of growing Pinot Noir in Burgundy?
It's the most northern growing area to produce red wine. So clearly the challenge is to get ripeness every year. We don't have the sugar that you can get with a Mediterranean climate, but we have more acidity and we have a lot of flavors. When you taste one of those berries of Pinot here, it is like blackberry or cassis, so really a lot of flavors.
The vine is important in Burgundy, but no more so than at the table, where wine and food are equals. The essentials of Burgundian cuisine are the abundance of local flavors and fresh ingredients, usually sourced daily and in season. For me, Pinot Noir is one of the most versatile and food-friendly red wines, and its sensitivity to variation creates subtle differences in texture, aromas, and flavors that I love. Wine culture here is a pursuit of excellence, where vineyards have been divided, classified, and studied, all with the goal of expressing the Burgundian concept of climat.